Hmm. 9 months, eh?
It's been a while. It's really been a while.
9 months, huh?
So good to
Well,
hear that song all over again.
it song nice, eh? It sound good, boy. I haven't heard that song in a long, long time, but it's a welcome song.
Indeed.
Yeah. So we have some things to talk about.
Of course.
Uh, Very interesting. Not interesting is something that has to be spoken about, you know. Yeah, so we on the podcast platforms, people, Google, Spotify, and Apple, just to let you all know. And yeah, we're going to start one time.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
But well, I don't wanna say new year, new us, but if you notice, people, obviously things a little different.
Yeah,
Um,
some life happens. Let's just put it like that.
yes.
Life
But it's all
happens.
good either way.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good either way. You know, all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's get right into it.
yeah. So I think we struggle with we as men, we struggle with something like this very often, and is I think it's because of how how society is run, how things flow in society as it relates to status and your social currency, the social value, and it happens to men more than women. And I think we struggle with it a lot because we want to find our place in the world, especially when you're young. You tend to want to find your place in the world, and when we weren't taught things like, for example, just because somebody is on level 10 and you're on level 1, that means that you are less than them. We
Or
weren't taught
behind in
that,
some way.
or behind. Yeah. And
Somebody chapter 10 might be your chapter 1 or vice versa.
exactly. But we weren't taught that.
Yeah. And
So
not just that, but we weren't taught that that is okay
yeah, exactly.
because we each have our own journeys in life. Your journey is my journey. What you experience isn't what I may necessarily experience. And again, as we spoke about the purpose, we each have a different purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so I think it's something that needs to be spoken about until let until let the guys know that it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but we have to get the the main thing out of the way one time, and that is lying to yourself and therefore lying to others. And like we wanted to talk about this because everybody on social media, everybody on the TikToks and the Instagrams and the YouTube. And so I was on Instagram one day I can't remember how it was so long ago, but I made sure and I saved it. But it was from Dr. Jordan Peterson. For most men know who Dr. Jordan Peterson is. For those who don't know, he's he's a licensed clinical psychologist, at least for now, because the board of psychology in Canada wants to take away his license. There's a next story for next day. But he's a clinical psychologist, and he has been very helpful in helping men take responsibility for themselves and for their lives. And so I found this video, and I had to share it with Nick right away because it's something that we talk about all the time. And when someone that we admire in terms of the work that they do talks about things that we talk about, is like, okay, I guess we're on the right track. So I'm gonna share the video and then we'll talk about it.
Way to increase the probability that things will unfold for you properly is to not lie. Just stop lying. Period. Stop saying things you believe to be untrue. Stop doing things you know to be wrong. Just start with that. You'll get closer and closer to the truth, and the truth is the adventure of life. That's the advantage to the truth. You have the world on your side. But obviously, because if you're lying about things, you're opposing reality. Who are you? Who are you to oppose reality? Good luck. One.
So yeah,
You know, that is, as I mentioned before, but like because he's somebody that we look up to, right? And because of his practice as well, and the respect that he has gathered, he what he said just now is very mundane. Or sorry, what he said is something profound about the mundane, because it's things that we face on a daily basis. It's things in your everyday life, and it's things that we're supposed to be doing, that we're supposed to have in our mind. And that word that you mentioned about reality, like how many people, how many guys we know in particular, basically living, as you had mentioned before, according to the standards set
or the
by,
expectations.
or the expectations set by social media, which is on a whole a fake reality, a false reality, you
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
and is a stress and a struggle to try to keep up with that false, that falseness, that falsehood. And it's something that we shouldn't be doing, because as it stands, the generations of men, I would say, before us, just before us, ours, and the ones upcoming, and I wouldn't even say, I would probably say some of the generation of men before us and the generation, and some of the men of our generation cannot distinguish, but most of the generations upcoming cannot distinguish between reality and the expectations of social media.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think social media has done a disservice to everybody, but especially men,
Yeah,
because what has happened, it has brought us closer, but at the same time it has separated us even more, in the sense that, okay, so for example, when we were growing up in the 90s, yes, we mightn't look it, but we old. But when we were growing up in the 90s, there wasn't any social media. So the people that you knew about or you knew of were either within just in your country or in your neighborhood, community, city, whatever. right? With the advent of social media now, you're meeting people, or you're not meeting, but you're becoming aware of people that you would have otherwise not been aware of for almost your entire life. But social media has made it so that you could become aware of the existence of more people than you would have if social media didn't exist. And social media also allows you to show what you want to show to other people. And because of that, somebody could rent a Benz and talk about how hard they worked and look what I was able to do. Some people are doing it legitimately, but others aren't.
Yeah.
And the young men coming up, they're not even aware that these are the things that are going on. And they think that this person legitimately did whatever they say that they did. When in reality, they're traveling just like you and I, or they have a simple car just like you and I, and but they're trying to create a life in cyberspace, and you think that you have it so bad, when the reality is you might have it better than the person who's doing that.
Yep.
And now you know you're going to try to lie to yourself or lie to other people to make yourself feel better about your situation, when the reality should be is if that's what you truly want, then the goal is to work toward getting what it is that you truly want. Now, I would also add that the reason why men tend to want these things is not for themselves. And we all know why men want these things. It's not for us. Like if if it was just up to us, we wouldn't even care about having like a big house or cars or anything. We just want a roof over our head, some kind of transport, food, and that's it. We don't really care. But there's one thing that makes men want to have certain things in life,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the love of a woman. Now, at this generation, I'm not sure if love goes into it, but just love of, we have to remove love of and just put woman,
Woman.
right? Just woman in this generation. Because I don't even think that, like, the whole topic on love is another thing for another day and time, but women are the motivating factor for acquiring wealth, acquiring resources, having a lot of connections, and so on. Now, obviously, there are anthropological reasons for that. Again, something that we don't have to go into right now, but that is the ultimate motivating factor for men. And what we experience on social media tends to make a lot of us, especially the younger ones, try to acquire the perception of having resources rather than actually going out and building themselves to acquire the resources.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who said it. I can't remember. Oh yes, it was this old motivational speaker named Jim Rohn. He said someone told him to go and um, get $1 million, like desire to get $1 million and work toward getting it. And when you get it, you realize that the $1 million is not the valuable thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the person that you became on the way to getting the $1 million.
The journey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that whole um, developmental stage from um, from not having a million, this to deciding that you want it, to relentlessly going after it, and to finally acquire it, and you realize, eh.
Yeah.
Because you could ask anyone that has become successful and has acquired certain things. They'll tell you that a Benz is just another car. Like the estimate from A to B, yes, is more comfortable, but it's just another car. But I wouldn't trade the journey to being able to acquire it for the world. The journey is what people really, really value. And the person that you become is what people really, really value.
Yeah. The experiences along the way, the lessons learned, all those things.
Yeah. So when you lie, according to what Jordan Peterson said, you try to oppose reality. And look, the reality is you don't have that. You're not the person that you say you are as yet. And that's it. Reality doesn't have to remain the way it is.
Right.
It can change, but you can't act as if the reality that you're living in right now is not there. Like
Right.
you can shape it to be something different over time, but you can't act like, okay, I am not a successful person, but I going to let people know that I own three Benz and I travel all the time and I'm always in these events.
Yes.
No, that is not your reality yet.
Correct. Correct.
And you might
And
think,
what we what we say here for again our international audience, you're living beyond your means.
mm-hmm,
You're hanging
yeah,
your hat where you can reach,
mm-hmm,
you know? And it's
yeah,
true because like how many times in the past episodes, bro, we spoke about you have to acknowledge where you are at. The first step is acceptance. Only from there can you move on, right? Like, and again, as you rightfully said, we don't have to stay where we are, but you're acknowledging where you are at currently. So it's a starting point on the journey.
yeah,
And then you could always take markers along the way, the goals that you set for yourself, to reach to where you are. But again, as you mentioned, somebody who has $1 million, the $1 million is not the joy, is actually destination. Sorry, the journey, not the destination.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And we have to, like I always talk about it, we have to know who we are, right? But further than that, after we know who we are, we need to understand who we are, and those are two totally different things. Knowing who you are is okay. Like you know your person. Like this is my personality. These are my likes. These are my dislikes. These are my good habits, my bad habits. These are my pet peeves, and so on. Understanding who you are is the reason for the other things that I just mentioned. The reasons. Why do I like this? Why don't I like this?
Mhm.
Why I have this pet peeve? Why I have these good habits? Why I have these bad habits? How can
And
I change these bad? How can I override these bad habits because you can't remove them,
Correct.
but you could override them.
Replacing them with some new ones, new good
Right.
habits,
New good habits.
better habits. And um, as it relates to that, like we have to sit down, take the time and sit down and look, as we mentioned before, look in the mirror and see who you are, as I mentioned, and actually take the time and the steps to do it, not being distracted, and knowing as well, understanding as well that it is not something that happens overnight. You can't just expect it to fall in your lap because it didn't become like this overnight. It took
Yeah.
it was a process in order for you to reach where you are, and it will be a process to reach where you're going or where you want to go, and is another process to reflect on the reasons why each of these things in your life are the way they are, why you have these certain habits, why um yeah, and also how you are going to how and what are you going to put in place to replace those habits with good ones or better ones.
Yeah. And they see that last part, like what are you going to do? That's where we tend to fall short as well.
Mhm.
Because what we like to do is we like to tell ourselves or tell people, like the people close to us, that we're going to change, but we never do anything. We just say we're going to change. Like we never do anything. We never say, okay, well, I'm going to join this class, or I'm going to learn to manage my anger by going to these anger management um, classes, or speaking to a psychologist or a counselor, a therapist. Um, we don't start like consuming new pieces of content on social media because everyone is on social media, is a part of our lives now.
Mhm.
We, like, some of us, the lucky few of us aren't, but the
Yeah,
majority of us are on social media. So we need to we need to actively, consciously curate the content that we ingest on social media. There's good content on social media, like the one that we just showed. Again, thank you to Alpha Motivation
yes,
for finding and curating that video. Right? No copyright infringement is
intended.
intended,
Yes,
right? Um, but there's good social media content and there's not so good social media content. And I'm being very, very, um, how to put it, tame in my
yes,
descriptions.
modest.
I'm being modest in my descriptions. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you need to curate
And
what you consume on social media.
correct. And as you know, as it relates to the bad things that we consume on social media, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but just touching on it a bit. Um, it has a habit of just keep on perpetuating the bad. So it's almost like, yes, I know it has to do with the algorithm, but it almost seems as though if you watch one good social media post, it's actually harder to see another one compared to if you watch a
Like
bad
it,
one. It's like many
yeah.
just come in one after the next after the
It's
next.
like it's like the algorithm don't listen when you say
Correct,
not interested. Like
correct.
I will always remember there was a point, I think it was a point last year, where I'm only putting not interested on a certain type of content, and about the fact it's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I still see it, and I'm putting not interested,
Yeah.
right? And when I like the good content, the amount of those kinds of um, pieces of content that I have to like for my entire search feed to change,
Hmm.
my explore feed is like has to be like 25
Yeah.
or 30. If you just watch one bad piece of content, your explore page is instantly flooded with that kind of content.
Correct. And not only that, but even for some reason, like that on one platform influences something else on another platform. So, like for example, YouTube, right? All of a sudden, you're seeing 5 videos of gal, like woman, like oh, you're rich here.
Yeah.
Like why,
What
why, why are they fighting me so?
like it like let's say, okay, so you're watching reels, right? You just went on an alpha motivation reel, right?
Hmm.
And you scroll up, and there's some girl doing try on hauls, right?
Yes.
And you scroll past it,
Hmm.
and you go onto YouTube, three try on haul videos.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it out. I didn't like it. I didn't save it or anything like that. But all of a sudden I have try on holes on my YouTube homepage.
Correct. Or worse yet, like let's have the try and hold video that you scroll past on, let me say, Instagram. You seeing something totally unrelated, like some woman in tight clothes doing some kind of yoga stretch in
Yeah.
some kind of
Yeah.
positions. Like how?
Yeah.
What?
So like another as you mentioned that a perfect example is this, right? So like we mentioned when a lot of things happen. I'm now a certified personal trainer. So like my quick
Clappers,
right
clappers.
quick clappers, yeah. But I am now like the content that I consume on my social media is mostly okay, um, personal development, fitness stuff, spirituality stuff, things like that, right? But ever so often, the Instagram algorithm is going to post a video of some woman on some gallery in some bungalow on some beach in a bikini doing yoga stretches.
Doing the most.
And I'm like, I don't even follow people like this. Like I only follow um, people who do workouts in gyms, different kinesiology professionals, doctors of kinesiology, doctors of physiotherapy, psychologists, um, people who are into spirituality and meditation and prayer and all of these things. Like that is the kinds of things that I follow. And all of a sudden, random yoga girl just show up and
You're like,
everything
oi
out.
oi, look my hair.
Like I didn't ask for this, but here we are.
Yeah. It's almost like they say, I know you didn't ask for this, but just take in this right quick. Like look at this. Look at this. It might pique your interest, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You never know, but yeah.
And then I didn't. I know you didn't request this, but
But just
because
in
I'm
case.
so courteous,
Yes.
I just thought that you might like this. So have a gander.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I wanted to look at that, then I would have searched for it, right?
Correct.
And if the algorithm is so unbiased and it's supposed to listen to the things that you like and that you don't like, then I'm not supposed to be seeing random yoga girls on beaches in bikinis doing full on splits from the
Mm.
side,
Yes. But our
talking about self love. And it's be
yeah,
so like the quotes will be so random. Like this person is doing the most in the least bit
yeah,
of clothes. Talking
yes,
about
some kind
um,
of inspirational something,
something
kind of
inspirational or,
yeah,
or motiv- I was like,
motivational. Yeah.
what?
Hmm. Like
So
that's all. That's like a pandemic now.
yeah. So at the end of the day, as men, we have to realize that more than anything else, and I actually wrote something like this down a few months back. Let me see if I find it back quickly. Right, if I can't find it back, well, I can't find it back. But um, let me see if I can find it quickly. If I can't find it, oh yes, here it is. Mastering everything except your mind will be your downfall.
Yeah.
Mastering everything except your mind will be your downfall. And you have to realize that the things that distract us, whether it is celebrity news, which has nothing to do with us,
Right.
um, women doing the most, like nothing's wrong with having women on your feed, but it's what they're doing,
Correct.
right? Because you could have very productive. There are many productive women, whether it be in fitness, business, um, science, medicine, many women doing good things on social media, but you hardly seeing that. You don't really see that. So you have to realize that your mind, you have to protect your mind
Hmm.
because the way habits work, and I know it because I struggle with it, the way habits work is that you don't have to see the thing that you're addicted to. You just have to see something that will trigger a cue to bring up the habit.
Yep. So,
So
like the saying, keeping your head on.
yeah,
It's so true.
yeah,
It literally is keeping your head on.
yeah. Because if you don't, your habits and social media and all of these things will make you um, make certain decisions that you know you shouldn't make, but you'll make them anyway, and also lie to yourself and to people. Like you're like, no, I don't have a problem. I have it covered. That's not it. But then when you go home and nobody watching, you know you're struggling,
Correct.
right? You know you're still smoking way too much weed that you should be smoking. You know you're not putting in the necessary work to get out of the situations that you want to get out of.
Correct.
You know you don't have
You're being
the
distracted by
money.
all sorts of things.
Yeah, you know you don't have the money to go to that all-inclusive fete that you had to take a loan for, but you're
Of
acting like
course.
you have the money to do it, but you know you have this loan to pay back and you're going to struggle to pay back this loan.
And there's only one out of three or four loans that they have because you paid on for a carnival costume, etc., etc.
Or you pay down for this high-end car that you know you can't afford, but you get it anyway because you know if I go um cinema one. I can't even remember. But
Cinema one. Yeah.
right, cinema one to watch some 4DX movie. If you pull up
The car park.
in the BMW, the car park, people will start to watch you.
In the undergrounds, yeah.
In the underground car park, people will start to watch you.
Hmm.
No, you need to stop that, right? Realize that that is not serving you in the long run.
Yeah.
As men, we can't blame anybody for our downfall. We can't blame society. Yes, they've created the environment that is conducive to our downfall, but we can't continue to blame them for the situation that we're in. We
Correct.
have the power to get ourselves out.
And you can't, as it's mentioned, that we can't be complaining about it and yet still we're not doing anything to get
Yeah,
out. It makes no sense.
yeah. So
Why,
you have
why,
to,
why you telling your brethren, boy, I can't do this, I can't do that because I had this too, and I have a loan, I have so much loans to thing, and this and that, and you're not doing anything to get yourself out. And by extension, you're not doing anything to help your community, your other partners get out as well.
yeah. Somebody has to tell somebody we going the wrong way.
Exactly.
Like we can't be looking around at each other like the three Spider-Man,
Yeah,
pointing the finger at each other, and it's like somebody have to say, listen, we messing up. We had to do something to get okay. So fellas, here what we're going to do. Right? You have a job, I have a job, um, we had a partner here have a job. Let's pool together some money and start something outside of what we're doing.
correct.
Let's look and see what is needed in and around our neighborhood, community, town, city, and see if we could pull together some money and start that and fill the gap that we see in. Because nobody else doing it. So if we do it, we will be the go-to people.
Hmm.
Right? And remember, and I have to mention this because the music today has glorified certain things. We're not going to get into the details, but the
Right.
music today has glorified certain things. So I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about things that are going to be beneficial to the people that are around you.
Yes.
Remember, we are social animals. Whether you speak to your neighbor or not, what you do or what your neighbor does affects you,
Affects.
whether
Yeah.
you realize it or not. So the best thing to do is to live good with everyone. It doesn't make sense. You don't like your neighbor because you find that they're not whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is you live good with people. And if you live good with people, people will live good with you.
Correct. Be the example, be the leader.
Be exactly everybody be the leader. The leader is not the one who shouts to the top of their lungs to try to get people to do something. That is not what a leader is. A leader shows the way, not tells the way.
Yes.
So you and your friends decide, listen, we gotta get out of the situation we in, right? This is the reality. This is the hand that we were dealt, but we could get out of it. So let me put our brains together and figure out something.
Mm.
Figure out something productive because that's one of the biggest problems in Trinidad. And I promise that this is one aspect of New Year, New Me that I promise that I'm going to do. And we spoke about this before. I promise that I'm not going to criticize my country again. And the reason why is because we have too much potential to just be criticizing people all the time.
Yeah.
Like Trinidadians are talented, Caribbean people are talented, African people are talented. We have to stop criticizing each other and start to see the good in one another and enhance that and push that and stop pushing the negative parts of ourselves.
Yeah. And there's already so much criticism outside,
Yeah, from outside,
from outside.
right?
So
Other
we don't need
people
any more.
criticize us all the time. Like,
Correct.
so to continue to criticize ourselves
Yeah.
is not doing ourselves service, good
Is there
service.
injustice?
Yeah.
Put
So
a
we
question that.
I have decided that I am going to speak to the good in all of us as Trinidadians, as black people, as men, black men. Right? We're black men, so that's why I'm I'm putting a subset, right? But men, black men, Trinidadians, African people,
Yeah.
we are talented. All of us are talented. All of us can are creative. Like look at the things, look at the funny things that we create in Trinidad, right? The things that make us laugh, right? That same creativity could go into more than just a meme or more than just a short video.
Yeah.
That creativity could go into a small production company.
Mm-hmm.
It start off small, you know. The two fellas, okay, you like funny, you like to make funny things, funny videos. Pool money together, buy a camera, buy like so yeah, we share in these things to start off. Buy a camera, buy a
A
good
mic.
computer. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a Mac. Buy a good mic
Mm-hmm.
and start creating content that could live on a website that people would want to go and see, that you could monetize. There now you're doing something that you're passionate about. You like to laugh, you like to create content. You build a small production company. These are how these things start. You like sports. You mightn't be good at it, but you like it. Start talking about it.
Yeah.
Boom, you have a sports podcast. Or you create sport and apparel or streetwear or something like we creative, but sometimes we creative for the wrong things. But we can be creative for the things that we look outside for. We could create it right here.
Correct.
The things that
Correct.
we look to other races for and to other countries for, we could create in our communities.
Yeah. We need to, in order for that to happen, again, look at yourself.
Yeah,
Look within. Tap into that talent. Tap into that purpose. Stop being distracted. Stop looking out, expecting to get what is for you.
yeah. And stop paying attention to celebrities,
Yes.
please.
They live in a totally
Celebrity.
different world.
They live in a
Like,
totally different world to us. They're only a distraction. They serve no purpose in our lives.
yeah,
And start listening to music that actually helps you.
correct. Formulate better
Not
habits
yeah,
and um yeah, develop those habits and try to put aside the distractions. Entertainment, as you know, these days especially, come in many different forms. And it seems as though the main one these days is social media.
yeah.
So TikTok, again, as you know, the name TikTok is time going. You just keep
Exactly.
scrolling up and up and up and up, and you see
And
from
before you
one
know
video to
it,
the next
5 hours gone.
video. Yeah,
The day done,
done. And you ain't do
and
nothing
they have not accomplished anything yet.
for
So
yourself
start
or for your community. So,
exactly. So the first thing I would say, don't try to go cold turkey and just stop watching TikTok.
yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Here's what I'd say. I'd say start to curate your TikTok. Start to consciously decide what I'm going to watch on TikTok.
Mhm.
That is going to help me get out of the situations that I'm in. Nobody's saying that don't watch no funny things, because everybody like to laugh at some point.
Of
But
course.
don't let your day be bacchanal, funny thing, bacchanal, some celebrity problem,
Hmm.
some issue, um, men versus women again. Like we still doing the same things we've been doing for the past 3 years. Men versus women, celebrity problems.
We're stuck in our loop.
Yeah, we're in a loop. We're in a loop. Everybody in a loop, and we don't realize it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
we have to make a conscious decision. Okay, if I had to use TikTok, let me use TikTok that could inspire me to do something new.
correct. Good example. Use TikTok and YouTube to find out how to build certain things, certain businesses, certain crafts, how to better create um, content, different things
Mhm.
like that. How to use the technology, how to use your phone to get this done, how to use the camera in this way, how to get the lighting, etc. Things like that.
Yeah, and these things free.
Correct.
These things free on TikTok and YouTube and free, completely and totally free. And another thing for the guys who okay, so for our international audience in Trinidad and the Caribbean, we have exams called CSEC and CAPE, right? This is this is essentially the marker that lets employers know how valuable you are to their business.
I like
Valuable,
what you do. I like
right?
valuable.
And if you don't have a good C-SEC and CAPE, then you can't qualify to be in university. Degrees are becoming obsolete, fellas. If you don't have one, if you never passed C-SEC or CAPE, is okay. There's hope.
It's
You
not the end
can.
of the world.
It's not the end of the world. You can be self-taught. YouTube is free, right? Like I listen to this. Um, well, I follow this graphic designer and teacher named Chris Do, and the amount of guys that he's interviewed that and women that he's interviewed that says that they are self-taught graphic designers or self-taught marketers or self-taught brand strategists. So you're telling me you learn how to do this for free? I know you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
Hmm.
So the barrier is not money. The barrier is time and how you use it.
Correct.
It's
What's
not
that?
easy,
What's that
but
saying? The sky is not the limit. The mind is.
yeah, yeah. The only limits is the ones you place on yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing that I wrote down too. This was I put the date on it. It was August of last year, 10th of August last year. I wrote, "A man's reality is a reflection of his inner world."
Hmm.
So it comes back to the whole knowing and understanding yourself.
So, yeah. Look within. Look within.
Yeah. If you don't know how to do that, there are many books and resources and videos. If you're not a reader, it's okay. There are videos now, there are audiobooks for free on
Yeah.
YouTube, right?
A couple of years back, we couldn't. You couldn't say that. But
Yeah, a couple of
now,
years, yeah. Everything is available for you.
correct.
Information is everywhere. It's just for you to take the time to give yourself a chance.
Mhm.
A good book to start off with is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I think I would have mentioned that book a few episodes back.
Episodes about, yeah. And
Yeah,
you had the book list.
yeah. Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. That's the one we're starting off with. I ain't going to talk about no more books. We gotta get that one out of the way first. Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, is if you're doing audiobook, okay, cool. But if you decide to read it, I'm letting you know the first two chapters is hard to go through. is like pulling teeth. But if you get through this, the infrared,
Hmm.
right? If you don't like non-fiction, but you still want to get the results, The Alchemist. Okay,
Alchemist, yeah.
I done. All right, I done now. No more books. No more books. But yeah, those two books, non-fiction and fiction, both of them going to get it to the same place. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So coming back to the video by Dr. J. Peterson about not lying to self and escaping that reality. We need to really look within, look and study ourselves deeply, more deeply. Put aside the distractions, focus on yourself, and by extension, focus on building not only yourself and your family, but the community, the greater and wider community. And we as Black people, especially, we as Black men, we need to become leaders again. We need to take charge, firstly, of our minds and then ourselves. And then, and only then, will we begin to see, once we start to put things in place, it's not just about talk, but actually taking the steps, putting the words into action to build a better future for ourselves, for future generations, for communities, and leaving a lasting and good legacy.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Because like look at us for instance. The the day jobs that we have, we're not happy in them.
Mm.
But also we're not sitting down and complaining about how we're not happy in them and not doing anything about it. You're
Correct.
building a business too,
Mhm.
right? You are creative. You know you are creative. You decided to build a business too.
Yeah. Soon come, Ole, soon come.
Don't
Ole.
worry, you will find out soon enough.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, I am building a business too. That was the reason why I decided to go and become certified as a personal trainer. Not to necessarily be a personal trainer,
Mm.
but you'll find out soon enough. But it's just to show we're not just saying these things so that you all have something nice to listen to. We are
Correct.
trying to live the things that we are talking about.
Mhm.
It's not perfect. We're not perfect. We're not making $1 million a year. We're not making $1 million a month. We're not even making $1 million.
Yeah.
but but the point is that we've started and we're going and we realize that the only thing that we have is time. Time is the most valuable thing. It's not money, it's not cars, it's not skills, it's not anything like
Yeah.
that. It
Time is the
is
real currency.
is your mind and time.
Yes.
And if you put as much value on those two things as we currently put on the things that ultimately do matter, our lives are going to be so different. And it'll be different in less amount of time than you think it'll take.
Yep.
But it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Like the amount of work you have to do in the night and during the day. And for me, I have to train and I have to pray and I have to meditate and I have to write and like having that discipline because like I was writing recently in a journal and I wrote down that I was never clinically diagnosed with ADD,
Right.
but every time I hear someone who has been clinically diagnosed with ADD talk about it, is it's like I have all them things. Like I can't concentrate for long. I'm not disciplined to stick to one thing for all the time. I tend to switch topics fast. I tend to cut people off sometimes because what something that they say trigger some thought or idea in my brain.
Mhm.
And I used to wonder like why I can't get it like why I can't get the whole discipline thing, why I can't do the hard things. And the more I listen to people that have ADD or ADHD, I realize that I have a lot of those things. So probably like I don't have learning disability. Like I learn easily and fast, but concentration and sticking to one thing and being repetitive and those kind I can't do it. It's a struggle. Like even for the things that I love. Like I love training, I love capoeira, but ask me to do this thing every day, sometimes it'll be hard. It'll be a struggle. But I know that if I want to do the things that I love, I have to stick to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's about
yeah,
that discipline, having that discipline.
yeah, and you have to find ways to be disciplined. Like there's
Not
no one
motivation,
way. There's not
discipline.
motivation. Yeah, it's not motivation, it's discipline. And there's no one way to be disciplined. Like you have to find your way. I know there are a lot of people on social media talking about this way to be disciplined and you have to do so and so and you have to find your way. That's the only half of it.
Correct.
That's the only half there is. You have to find your way
What they're
to be
talking
disciplined.
about works for them, but it may not
Exactly.
work for you. So,
Like that's their way.
correct.
Their way may not necessarily work for you. You have to find your way. Because yes, we are social animal, but we are also individuals. So we have to find our way, the way that works for us as individuals. And we could give the advice of what works for us, and maybe it would help someone else. But if someone who's saying you have to do it this way, no, no, like stop watching their stuff right away. From the time they start to tell you you have to do things this way and this way alone,
Only. Yeah.
no, you need to run for the hills. Run as far and as fast as you can because they're not helping you. You have to figure out what works for you. And when you do that, then things will start to be a little easier. It wouldn't be easy right away. It'll take time, but it will be easier over time.
And in the process of that, you'll discover and learn new things about yourself,
Exactly. That is the whole understanding, knowing and understanding yourself.
the experience and the lessons.
Yeah. But to get to that point, we had to stop lying to ourselves, man. Right? Brothers, kings, we have to stop lying to ourselves. Have to.
Leaders. Yeah.
If we want to truly be able to lead, firstly ourselves, then our family, then our street, then community, right? We don't have to go into the whole nation thing, right? That's our next,
But yeah,
yeah, right? But the main
but
things, ourselves, our family, community.
and just to slip this in, guys, remember, women look for leaders. If you cannot
Yeah.
lead yourself, you cannot lead them
Mm-hmm.
or a family
Mm-hmm.
or anything else as a matter of fact. So
Right.
start with up here and then work your way.
And once you could lead yourself, people will follow you. You don't have to tell anybody to
Yeah,
lead you.
correct.
You don't have to tell anybody to follow you. Only time you could lead yourself and you're going your way, not not going your own way, like them people. Like we have to leave those things, the third wave feminism, the MGTOW, red pill people, we have to leave all of that in 2023.
Yeah,
Right? We're not doing that again. The gender wars, that has to stop. Right? Men, when we develop standards for ourselves, the right woman will come into our lives. You want to have a good woman, you be a good man. You can't be a mediocre, not good man. I was gonna say something else, but you can't be a mediocre. You can't be a mediocre, insensitive, not being able to stand up for yourself, not being able to stand up for others, not being considerate, but expect a good woman who's going to be there and cater to you and do all of those things. It,
correct.
it doesn't work. You can't get something for nothing.
And also, it doesn't mean going on the extreme either.
Yeah, it doesn't mean going on the extreme either. It doesn't mean being what's called them thing again? Um, is, is the beta males? I don't think it's that I was going to say. No, I don't think it's that. Oh, don't be a nice guy. Yes, don't be a nice guy. Be a good man. There's a
Yes, correct.
difference,
A big
right?
difference too.
Yeah, and that's another episode for another day too.
Yes.
We'll talk about that sometime. But essentially, yes, don't be a nice guy. Be a good man. And when you're a good man, you'll find a good woman.
Mhm. Right. So,
Yeah. So we say all that to say, don't lie
say yourself.
to yourself and to people because you'll eventually get found out.
Correct.
Yeah, you'll eventually get found out. Let's be honest. So I think for our first episode back after 9 months, I think we've said a lot of things
Yep.
that would not only help our fellow guys out there, but also remind us about what we need to do. Yeah, so that is the end of our first episode after 9 months. But it was a good talk, and I'm glad we're back. A lot of people have been asking us
Oh, yes.
about when we're coming back and all of those things, but nothing happens before it's time, and we have to make sure everything was right before we came back.
But I must say, I mean, being totally honest, it feels good to be missed.
For sure.
It feels good to be missed.
For sure, because I went to a wedding and certain people wasn't missed. Anyway, um, yeah, it's not nice to be not missed. Like
Yeah,
nobody
correct.
asking about you, nobody cares or anything.
No
But
business.
but it's good to know that we were missed. we had another podcast, friends to the show, Black to Black in Trinidad, asking about when we were coming back as a podcast,
Yes.
and so they'll be pleasantly surprised to see an episode come out.
Correct.
So everyone who is watching this episode, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Check us out on all the podcasting platforms: Google, Spotify, Apple, right at the bottom of your
Click at the
screen.
bottom. Yep.
And don't forget to follow Legacy of the King _ podcast on IG, and each of our individual
The
podcasts,
handles. Yep.
Hemi Podcast, Instagram handles,
Yeah, the Instagram.
Nick Legacy Official and Legacy Official on Instagram. Right? So it was nice to catch you again in the next one. Everybody take care.
Yes. Take care, guys.